All right, sorry for jumping the gun earlier, and now I'll call the Administration and Finance Committee to order. We'll take items 6, 7, and 8 together, and all 5 members are present to start out with. Starting with item 6, an ordinance to separate the city treasurer and city comptroller positions and eliminate the finance director position. And folks who are in the audience, we got our meeting going, so if you could please hold your conversations outside or much quieter. Thank you. So, yeah, and Ms. Grill, would you like to tell us about the city treasurer and city comptroller positions?
At the last council meeting, there was some discussion regarding the possibility of splitting these positions. Talked about the different roles that the city treasurer plays versus the comptroller. The treasurer is the one that is taking in the funds for the city, and the comptroller is ensuring the accurate use of those funds according to the laws and policies of the city. And currently we have a finance director, comptroller / treasurer position, and in a city the size of West Allis, it's somewhat challenging to handle all of those different responsibilities. So we had that discussion at the last council meeting, and there was a desire to move forward with this ordinance.
I move for approval of the ordinance.
I second that.
We have a motion from Alderman Lysak and a second from Alderperson Keene. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And then items, can I have a motion to approve and place on file items 7 and 8, unless Ms. Grill wants to tell us about that before we
Eight would be placed on file, 7's approved and placed on file.
Correct, yeah. The first one, based on the previous recommendation, would request that you would approve and place on
I
file.
move approval and place on file on item 7,
And 7
Second.
and item 8 be placed on file.
just place. Thank you, Tom. Yes. So yeah, that's the motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second.
And Alderperson Keene got it again. And so any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. And then item 9 is a resolution to extend the emergency declaration in the city due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Move for approval.
Motion from Alderman Lysak,
Mr.
Second for the purpose of discussion.
second from Alderman Weigel. And go ahead, Alderman Weigel, or
Um,
whoever.
Sorry.
Mr. Chair, the copy I saw didn't have a date for the end on it.
Correct. We're looking for the council to select a date. The current declaration expires tomorrow, so given the fact that it's probably not going to be changing anytime soon, we were looking at either October or December to extend it to. This allows us to receive reimbursements from grant funding and the like, as well as make emergency purchases if we need to between council meetings. So I'm not sure what the comfort level is, but whatever, like October 23rd, that would be a couple days after the second council meeting on October.
I think
Otherwise,
December 31st sounds good.
I-
Then we can always, if all of a sudden there's a vaccine and everything's okay, which I don't foresee, then
We can always
we
rescind it.
can rescind it.
I agree.
Yep, I agree too. So whatever the December council meeting is.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
so this is extending those various changes that we've done. So I think one of the things we did was allow bars to sell full bottles of liquor. And is this is this tied to that? And does this also go along with our temporary extensions of licensed premises onto the sidewalks? Are those things all blended together? Is that what this is about? Is that how those are based also? On
They
our,
were-
our declaration or the state's declaration?
they were based on the city's declaration. There are on the License and Health Committee agenda, there are separate items related to that to extend those even if there weren't an emergency order.
Okay.
Because the way that they were written was based on the city's order. Well, it wasn't in the city's order, but it was based on the city's order, if
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, and as long as it's cancelable, I think, you know, so if it gives some certainty to staff to be able to project going forward for grants and stuff like that, I don't know about necessarily December 31st, but I don't think I'd have a problem going into December at all, so.
December 18th?
What are the meetings in December?
December 15th is our
Yeah.
Yeah,
last council meeting in December.
yeah, so we need an amendment on this, or we just fill in the blank?
An amendment.
I can amend, I'd offer an amendment on this. I move, make an amendment to extend the emergency declaration until December 18 of 2020.
Second.
Okay, and on the amendment to December 18, any discussion? All in favor, say aye on the
Aye.
amendment.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we now go to the original, and we have a motion and a second on already. Is there any discussion on the original motion as amended? Then all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And I need to note this. Item 10 is a resolution relative to approving a contract with Diversified Benefit Services Incorporated to administer a premium-only health reimbursement account for participants in the Reduction in Workforce Program 2020-2021.
Mr. Chair?
Ms. Grill,
At the last council meeting, the council did approve the reduction in workforce program. This would be a contract with Diversified to administer those accounts on behalf of the city and the participants.
I move for approval.
a motion from Alderman Lysick
Second.
and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
how did we come to pick Diversified?
They work extensively with Horton, and they
Okay.
were recommended by them. So,
So this doesn't need to be bid? No?
oh, I believe the amount is under $2,000.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 11 is a resolution approving the intergovernmental agreement between Milwaukee County Department of Health and Human Services Behavioral Health Division and the City of West Dallas Police Department for police officers to become part of a BHD mobile crisis team.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Weigel and a second from Alderperson Keene. And any discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 12 is a resolution authorizing the Director of Development to enter into a professional services agreement with Community Planning and Development Advisors, LLC. I have a question. How much is this? And I think I know the answer, but
Mr. Chairman?
go ahead, Patrick. Thank you.
The amount is $9,000. It's related to the Community Development Block Grant Program. We are part of a consortium with Milwaukee County and Wauwatosa, and this consultant is working with Milwaukee County, Wauwatosa, and West Dallas to get our 5-year consolidated plan and everything into the federal reporting system for HUD. And they also provide retired HUD employees training, and we've had some staff turnover, and this person could come in and provide some training to some new people that will be working in community development block grant funds.
All right. Any further discussion or questions for Patrick?
The $9,000 would be paid out of community development block grant admin funds.
Even better.
And that's even better. Thank you, Patrick. Versus tax dollars.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Alderperson Keene and a second from Alderman Weigel. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And item 13 is a resolution to consider a sole source professional service contract with Tracy Cross and Associates in the amount of $26,500 for a market study on the West Dallas housing market.
Move for approval.
A motion
Second.
from Alderman Lysick
Second.
and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
when this came to the CDA for discussion, I brought up the question about the validity of studies in this turbulent market. And I guess my one concern is, we're taking the temperature of the market today, and I think the patient's sick. And, maybe not sick in this, it's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're trying to buy a house right now locally, it's over asking, no contingencies. And I guess my one concern is how valid is this study going to be in a year? The question would be if there could be some phased study or a revisit of the study, and I don't even know if it's a year. Again, my crystal ball is out getting glued back together. But that's my one concern about this. Doing a study right now is, I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just concerned about a follow-up and whether there's been a discussion about, well, yeah, West Dallas, you guys come back to us within a year or 2 years, we'll give you revised things for 5K or something like that. I guess that would be what I'd be looking for, so.
And Mr. Stiebel's ready to address that.
The private sector thinks it is. They were asked, some of the developers that are coming to us and says, does the city have a market study? The market study will probably not be used until later next year, 2021, before they get to be developing. So hopefully we'll have the pandemic will be theoretically over with in 2021. So it's also, we got lots of developers looking to develop in West Dallas, which is really nice. And we want to do two things. We don't want to overbuild a market, particularly if we're putting public subsidy into anything. And we don't want to have somebody else build more and hurt some of the things we have put public money in if you don't put public money. And then there's other areas like condominium development and stuff like that. Is there a market for this? I know we've got a proposal coming in on National Avenue for condominiums. There's a potential for, if we don't use 160th and Morgan for public purpose, we want to use it for a private purpose. Well, what private purpose would best go in that kind of a landmass? So this is kind of a very broad, of all the housing market areas, it's going to touch them all. So it kind of gives us a holistic approach to what is our housing market opportunities. And what that does for the private sector is it lowers their inquiry costs, so they don't have to go out and spend it and then go, oh, there isn't a market, so I'm not going here or not going there. They really like to see, is there a market study done by somebody, so they don't have to reinvent the wheel. So it fulfills that purpose, and then also, what do we really want to push to have happen?
Yeah, that explains why we're doing the study, and those are all valid points. But like I said, I'm just concerned what a follow-up. So you're saying that we're not likely to see any data collection now, or the study? When do we expect the study to be, printed and fresh? So is this going to come out in March? Which, again, my crystal ball is.
It'll probably come out 8 to 10 weeks, the study will.
So it'll still
I
be
don't really
this year.
see the data changing dramatically from pre and post-COVID. They're going to be using the same market analysis because the banking community is going to be looking in the long term as to what they're going to invest in, because by the time anything gets built, it's going to be 2 years from now. But they can't get financing now to start it until they have a market study to see what that's out there.
Yeah.
They're going to recognize that there's a blip in the market. So there's going to be that little bit of adjusted around, but that's why it's valuable to us.
So in a year, we're not going to be coming back for another $26,000 because the market's settled down now, and the study that we have in our hand from this year is, we're not going to say, oh, that was the COVID conditions. We need a new study in a year because everything's changed. I guess that's my concern.
Yeah, I can't say positively that'll never happen. I think it's highly unlikely that would happen. That's our best guess. That's what the bankers are telling us, that's what the developers are telling us, and they're the ones that are going to be investing the money.
And maybe not another
Now they're going to be coming to us for
26K,
money too, but that's why we want to be prepared ourselves.
just not another 26K next year. Maybe there's some, West Dallas, if we go with the same firm and they say, you know what, we're going to revise for half or whatever, I just don't want to be sitting here in a year handing out another $26,000 for a new study.
Yeah,
I guess that would be my point.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be based on the projected market in 2021 and beyond.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair? John-
Alderperson Keene, yep.
John, don't go anywhere. I share Alderman Weigel's concern with the housing market right now is just crazy. I mean, I feel that numbers are inflated. I feel that this was how it was prior to before it crashed, where then numbers completely deflated. So I am a little bit hesitant in the fact of doing this now, and then again, when this is done, COVID is maybe over, elections are over, this is over. Again, that we would have to go back and visit because we've seen such a dramatic change. Are we able to talk to this group and ask them that if the market is extremely changed, that another study can be done at a different cost or reduced cost, or just something that we have a little bit of insurance that now the house across the street from me sold for $189,000. 2 years ago, it was $142. And the house isn't 189, trust me. So that's what my concern is, if we can maybe get something set from them saying, okay, if we have a dramatic change considering all this crazy stuff that's going on, and can we work something out with you that we can get a comparable study done, not for 26,000.
However you want to handle it. I mean, it's not like we have to have it decided today. I mean, it's going to be a long-term project, long-term numbers. It won't be done for 2 months, much less being implemented in a year. 18 months from now is when it'll be implemented. So it'll be, what we're going to be looking at and forecasting is, what is that market out there when these units come online? Are there going to be people to rent them? That's the $64,000 question, or buy them, or whatever.
Right.
So it's going to take 18 months to 2 years to get the product, to see if the market study is accurate.
So the study will be conducted throughout the next 18 months, or the?
No, it'll be conducted between the next it'll be done between, whatever they start, it'll take 8 to 10 weeks to get,
Right.
to get it done.
So, like I said, my concern is that where we are right now, maybe, again, I don't have a crystal ball either, left it at home, in 18 months could be so dramatically different. That's just what makes me nervous. There's so much right now that I just want to make sure that if we're going to spend the money on it, it's going to be as accurate from 18 months from now as possible.
We can hold this up and bring them in and have a conversation with them that might make you a little bit more comfortable. We want you to feel comfortable about spending the money, but so we could do that. So we could hold this item, we'll bring them in,
I would like that.
have a conversation with them, do a Zoom meeting with them, and you can kind of get your feeling, are you getting the answers that you thought you were going to
Right.
be getting, or what?
Mr. Chair?
Alderman Lysick.
John, this is basically focusing more on rental units and apartment demand for those types of units rather than single-family housing. So I think what John is saying is the developers are looking at, what is the market in West Dallas for rental units? We've seen 2 big projects the rental units get absorbed immediately, no vacancies. And they're saying, well, what is the absorption rate? How long is this going to last? Should we be building more apartments in West Dallas because the demand is there? Obviously, these went in a hurry. And that's what this is looking at. It's looking at the long-term demand for apartments and some condos as well, which, are a glorified apartment, if that's what you want to
Right.
call it. So I really think if developers are looking for that type of information before they make commitments to build in West Dallas, you know, I think we should be providing it to them, at least to the best of our ability, and have them, so that they have something to go to their banks with and say, yeah, there is a demand, or maybe we find out there is no more demand, we're saturated, and you know, we can't have any more $1,800 a month apartments because the demand isn't gonna be there. So I think that's what we wanna know. Should we be looking at telling the Mandells of the world, yeah, go ahead and build some more apartments, or should we be saying, no, we've gotta go a different route and let's look at something else other than apartments?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I agree with that, Tom, as far as the development aspect goes and where we're heading. But considering it's such a time where people, it seems, are buying more houses or becoming more homeowners, would that study still be as accurate? Or would we maybe even shoot ourselves in the foot where they say, yeah, really right now it's, people are looking for single-family homes, and now we're not going forward with developments, or we're maybe not showing it, or in a year that could change.
I think what a lot of people are missing are the baby boomers my age, many of whom are looking to get out of their homes and put those homes on the market and move into condos and apartments because they don't want the maintenance of the house.
True.
So that's freeing up a lot of properties, and I know in my neighborhood, as you both said, as fast as the house goes up, it's sold in a day and for well over the asking price. All up and down my block.
Right.
It's happened. So I just think that this is, the demand is there and it's going to be growing, and we ought to be taking advantage of the market right now while people are looking for apartments.
True.
Let's take advantage of it. If developers want to build it here, certainly it's terrific for our tax base.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman Weigel.
I think, first a question, is this taxpayer money or straight up taxpayer money or CDBG money?
The Beloit Road development fee that we made about $500,000 on Beloit Road, that'll be used, part of that would be used for that, and part of it will be TIF.
Okay. Not that it really matters, but it matters, you know, what pocket it's coming out of. And we talk about developers building, but it's really about us helping developers build through subsidies of various forms. Would it really hurt us to wait a month on this?
No,
Yeah. And I think if we could have that conversation with, what is it, Tracy Cross and Associates, if we could just put together a Zoom call, and maybe it's just Alderperson Keenan, you and I, or something, or whoever else is interested. If we could wait a month, and again, I think 6 months ago, no one thought the housing market was going to be as hot as it is right now. You know, my son just wrote an offer of over $250,000 for a house in West Dallas. And, you know, I never thought you know, really? I'm proud of the guy, you know, but I think we're in a real blip right now. And I guess maybe I'd like to hear that from the consultants, what their thoughts are on it before we cut them a check. And again, I'd like to see some sort of deal where they come revisit it in 6 months or whatever, you know, so it's not a whole nother 26K.
yeah, another month is not going to hurt us. We've got, like, Cobalt wants to build a couple hundred more units. Mandel wants to build another 107 units. Motor Castings, we've been marketing for multifamily because that's kind of the best reuse for that land. We want to make sure that there is a market for that we're trying to push. Maybe we should be pushing at something else for other areas. So that's kind of, this also helps us too. But another month, we'll have a Zoom meeting and then come back before the council and request approval.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, the consensus of the committee then is to hold this item?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. And then moving on to item 14 is a resolution to consider funding $8,376 in grants and to establish CDBG-CV Small Business Restart Round 2 program.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion from Alderperson Keene and a second from Alderman Weigel. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 15 is resolution approving a 5-year consolidated plan for 2020 to 2024 relative to the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion from Alderman Weigel and a second from Alderman Tenorio. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And then item 16, I will read us into closed session. And for agenda item 16, the committee may convene in closed session pursuant to the provisions of Wisconsin statutes, section 19.851E, to deliberate or negotiate the investment of public funds or conduct other specified public business whenever competitive bargaining reasons require a closed session. The committee may convene in open session after completion of the closed session to consider the balance of the agenda. Can I have a motion for closed session? So move. A motion
Second.
from Alderman Lysick, and I heard a second from Alderman Tenorio. And Alderman Lysick. Aye. And Alderperson Keene.
Aye.
Alderman Weigel.
Aye.
Alderman Tenorio.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye, and we are in closed session.